This is Amani with Build Brothers. Starting my digital inspection, we are at a property in the Miramar area, and for these digital inspections, we always like to start underneath the eaves just to get an idea of the wood condition. The eaves consist of, we have the fascia, we have the rafter tails, and then we have the shiplap, or also known as the starter boards. And I do see a little bit of wood rot, especially here on this corner. So water has definitely been soaking into this spot. I did take a look around the eaves, just around the perimeter, and that's the only spot that I am seeing that has visible rot around it. But the reason why we got called out here is the homeowner is having leaks going into the living room. And something else I did notice as far as the difference between the roof and this portion, this looks like it was done really recently compared to the rest of the roof. The rest of the roof looks somewhat original. Or not original, but this was done more recently than the rest of the roof. And you can see all the new tile on here. And this section on the patio cover is a very low slope. It's almost flat. And I did check underneath, and what is under there is just normal felt paper, right? So anytime you have a low or flat, low slope section like this, you always want to use an upgraded underlayment. For this, if we're putting tile on it, we want to use titanium peel and stick. It's called PSU 30. This is what we use on low sloped slash flat roofs with shingles or tiles, because you want to make sure that underlayment has a bit of a buffer, and so that underlayment actually seals around the nail and keeps water from going through. So I didn't see that on here, although it's not as critical as the main dwelling, right? It is a patio cover, it goes outside. It is something to note, and will most likely leak in the future. Now, this is the area in question where we're having multiple leaks. And what we're looking at here is a Malibu style tile roof. It's also known as a W tile. And we see here a little bit of debris. Now this paper does have some gritty texture left in it. But we do see some debris collecting up and under here. And there are signs of water staining, right? So we do see just a little bit of some damage under here. But this is the main portion, and this is actually where I had the slip tile. And you can see just the amount of water staining on here. So this portion has taken an absolute beating to the point where the nail actually broke on this one and slid down. And so that's what's creating an opening for all that water to rush through and causing that leak. But another fundamental issue that I saw on this roof are multiple exposed nails. So these tiles are actually stretched. And they weren't placed properly, so each tile should be covering these nail holes, but they're not. And so we see almost every single nail exposed along the ridge line. And you can see they put a little bit of mortar and mastic to kind of cover this up. But this is a fundamental error on this roof, right? So not only is it going to continue to leak on that portion, but it is probably leaking on every single tile on along this ridge line, right? So you can see literally almost every nail is completely open. Again, these are all opportunities for water to get through. And then I also see another part where water has been getting through on here as well. So this is crucial. On a tile roof, the underlayment is going to be the most important part of the roof, and that's essentially what protects it, right? So when you're allowing water to go directly to that felt paper underlayment, well, it's going to fail prematurely, right? Another thing I noticed on here is the valley, right? The valley, you can see how crowded these tiles are together. You can't even see the valley metal, and so anytime that there's debris, that debris is going to collect up in there, and that water is going to divert to the side, and it's going to soak into that underlayment. So again, that is another fail point on this roof. Taking a look at this side, we want to look at the penetrations. Those seals are beginning to wear away and those are broken. Taking a look at the underlayment on this side, right, for consistency, we do see quite a bit of debris and staining on this part. And again, taking a look at this side, we see the same thing. So we see all this mastic that has been put over the nail holes, right, to cover them up. But these are completely open as well. So you can see, we see the same thing on this side. These are all open. See, we have some repair, some mastic on there to cover these up. But again, these nails are completely open. So that side is failing right now, and this side will follow shortly after. So yeah, the materials aren't, completely old, right? But because of the nature of the installation, right? There's going to be multiple fail points on this roof, so I'm going to recommend doing a full lift and reset on this entire thing because of the amount of installation errors I'm finding on this roof. And this roof is going to continue to leak even if we do a small repair because the way it was installed is inherently incorrect, right? Because we have multiple exposure points where water can get into. So what we want to do is we want to completely lift up all these tiles and place them along the ridge line. We want to update the underlayment and install new underlayment. And then another thing that is always an unknown, especially too, we do know that there's going to be some wood replacement because it's been actively leaking. Wood replacement is always an unknown factor, and we can't determine the amount that needs to get replaced until we actually take off the old material. Once we replace the old wood, we're going to go ahead and add the new felt paper underlayment and then put the tiles back in place. And another thing we're going to do differently is we're going to actually add some stagger on these. So as of now, these tiles are completely straight in line with each other. So we want to add a slight stagger so that water doesn't completely go right down the middle. So that's another thing I noticed. We'll go ahead and replace all the flashing with new, and we'll go ahead and replace the drip edge with new as well. And then something I'd like to add, again, this is optional just because it's the patio cover, but I'm going to recommend doing the patio cover as well and add an upgraded peel and stick underlayment for this, just to make sure that this doesn't leak as well. So I will get this out. Thank you.